Some of the students I teach, it's a fraction compared to the totality, do wish to become scholars and professors, as opposed to screenwriters, directors, and producers. And I have been as supportive as possible while knowing what an uphill battle they face, because frankly, there are so many more institutions of higher learning that offer graduate degrees in film now than when I was a grad student. I was able to do my PhD in English and then move almost, with fluidity into film. It was easy. Now it's a lot harder. People go for an MA and then they have to apply for a PhD. And by the time they graduate, there may or may not be positions available to them. At Columbia, we have a unique situation that the MA program, which is in film and media studies, began a few years ago, sort of on the back of the MFA program for screenwriting, producing, and directing. And I have urged my students in both areas, those who wish to teach, I've told them you have a much better shot at getting a teaching position if you can do both. If you can teach film history and either screenwriting or directing or producing, certainly for an adjunct, that's a way, way more likely scenario than if you can teach only filmmaking or only scholarly activity. It's hard for students these days, no matter what. My heart just goes out to them, partly also because tuition is very expensive when you go into a grad program. To be blunt and honest, and perhaps I should not say this as somebody who is tenured at Columbia, but occasionally I get phone calls or visits or emails from people who are about to graduate college asking me, what do I think about their applying to grad school? And I don't have one solid answer for everyone. So much of it depends on what is their situation in life. Can they afford it? Do they have parents who are supportive of it? Could they possibly be doing something else if they want to be filmmakers, such as becoming an apprentice to an existing artist? Can they perhaps find opportunities through grants to work in a studio situation? It also, by the way, depends on whether they wish to make independent films, which means New York is your ideal place, or do they want to become part of the Hollywood system, in which case Los Angeles is the better option. So whether one is going into scholarship or creative work, I guess my bottom line question is always, how will you be able to sustain this? Because passion for the material is not enough. These days, you almost have to have, quote, a day job or something else that can provide you with the security of rent paying. And you can't just do student loans and then figure out someday I'll repay them, because you may be feeling plagued for the rest of your life. It's a holistic thing. Each student, each person has a different set of aspirations and limitations. And I just try to find out what they are. I very often ask a student, if in 5 years you could be doing ... that you would be happiest doing, what would that be? And once in a while, I'm surprised to hear from that person, I never really thought of that. I never created that trajectory. So I say, let's do it now. If all things were equal and you had anything you wanted in 5 years, would you be writing, directing, producing? Would it be for television? Would it be streaming? Would it be only the large screen? Would you be living in New York? Do you want to go back to Europe or Latin America? What do you want? And at that point, I can sometimes help to trace a path.